Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your practice. Hope you all are doing well. I do have a belt and a pillow here for my props. So if you'd like to go grab those, go ahead and pause the video and get those things together. And then let's come on our backs so we can start our practice and do a little bit core to set our practice in. So let's lie back, relax. We'll just take a few moments here in a relaxed position. So whatever feels best for your body, whether you have your legs extended long or if your knees are resting against each other, just find yourselves able to release, surrender. That might be a physical thing, that might be something that's on your mind or even something in your heart. So whatever it is that you need to release, go ahead and do so. And let's take a few moments here as you start to find your Ujjayi breath, where you're breathing in and out through the nose, if that's open and comfortable. Feeling the lower belly rise as you inhale and soften back as you exhale. And then add that soothing sound of your breath. Some call it the sound of the ocean. You might even feel a slight vibration along the back of the throat. And then notice if you are still tensing up in areas. Sometimes for me, it's the back of the neck. So if you can release that area. And then also notice if there are areas of the body that might require some additional attention or some skipping or modification of movement. So always feel free to modify or skip and just do what feels good for your body. And then let's slowly extend those arms up to the ceiling or over the head. Maybe you're turning the palms away. Just get a nice easy stretch. It's like the first thing in the morning. And then let's draw those arms back down by the sides and start to hug those knees into the chest. Give them a squeeze, a rock left and right if that feels good. Let's keep that right knee hugged in as you extend the left leg up to the ceiling. And then start to draw those toes back down towards your face, the left toes back down towards your face. So you get just an easy stretch along the back of the left leg. And then on the inhale, let's lower it. And then exhale, use that lower abdominals, lower core to draw the leg back up. So try to keep the leg as straight as you can without locking out the knee. Inhale is to lower. And then exhale is to lift, squeezing through the lower abdominals. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Let's do 2 more times, just warming up through the core and the leg and the hip flexor. Feel that constant squeeze right underneath your navel. And then let's go over to the other side. Extend the right leg up, draw the right toes back down towards you so you feel that easy stretch. So just mild sensation. Inhale is to lower. Maybe you're finding that leg a little bit more straight. And then exhale, engage through those core muscles to draw back up. So inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. With the breath, we'll do 3 more rounds. Notice if the elbows are flaring out or the shoulders are lifting up. See if you can just kind of relax or even gently pin the backs of the shoulders into the mat. And then draw that right leg back up, bend the knees, go ahead and circle through the feet or wiggle the toes, crack the knuckles if you need to. And then let's extend both legs up to the ceiling. Let's find just a gentle sensation of a stretch. So find your legs towards straight, even if you have to lean them a little bit further away. And the farther your legs are from your body, the more you'll have to activate through the core to maintain that neutral position of the spine. Let's draw those arms up to the ceiling and inhale, lift them up to a comfortable point. Remember to modify if you have any shoulder concerns. And then as you exhale, draw the arms back up to the ceiling. If you want a little bit more challenge, start to lower the legs, but really feel that pull of the lower belly in. So inhale, just the arms lift. And then exhale, draw them back up. 3 more rounds on the rhythm of the breath. Notice the distance between the ears and the shoulders. If you need to snuggle your shoulders a little bit further down towards your hips, go ahead and do so. And then 1 more round. And then arms back up, hug the knees in, squeeze those knees in if that feels good. And then this time, let's circulate through the hips. So start to circle those knees in opposite directions, feeling how your hips are doing for today, maybe adding a little extra stretch if you need to. Let's change the direction of our knee circle. So always feel free to modify or even make the practice a little bit more challenging if you'd like. And then draw those knees back in. Let's keep that right knee hugged in. Let's come into our yogi bicycle. So start to stretch the left leg up. And this time we'll point through the toes. And then it's up to you to find the angle that works best for your body. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, let's peel the head and the shoulders off the mat. Remember, this is optional. If you're welcome to keep the head and shoulders down on the mat if you'd like. And then we'll switch over to the other side, finding that angle and really extending out through the leg without locking out the knee. And then let's switch from side to side. Finding your Ujjayi breath, feeling lots of work, that neutral position in the spine, all the core muscles to support that neutral position in the spine. And then the speed is up to you. If you want to go a little bit more quickly, you can. Or if you want to focus on maybe really getting the length in that straightened leg, you can. Just a few more rounds here. Waking up through the core. And then let's hug those knees back in, release head, shoulders down if lifted, and then release those feet down onto the mat. Let's find our feet in our bridge pose feet. So separate those feet about hip bone distance, all 10 toes pointing forward, and then arms down by the sides to start. And then you're welcome to keep the arms here if you want a little bit more challenge, and it's okay on the shoulders. Draw the arms up over the head, but drag those shoulders back down towards the hips. And then let's slowly lift those. Your hips off of the mat. Feel a nice stretch here. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, roll it down the spine. So that tuck of the tailbone underneath. And then maybe you're not even reaching the tailbone down to the mat. Maybe you're going right back in as you inhale to your bridge, and then exhale, rolling it down, either all the way or just almost all the way down if you want a little bit more challenge. So inhale is to lift. Exhale is to lower. Let's do 2 more rounds, noticing what's happening with the position of the knees. So you have to engage through those inner legs, the inner thighs, to make sure that the knees stay where they're supposed to be. And then let's slowly roll it on down. And then draw those arms back down by the sides, and then hug those knees into the chest. Give them a little squeeze. Let's keep that right knee hugged in. Extend the left leg up. Let's flex through the foot and then lower. To your angle of choice, where you're still engaging through the belly, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, let's peel the head and shoulders off of the mat, any amount, and really feel the strength of the core. Maybe you feel a little shakiness, and that's fine. That means you're strengthening those muscles. Find your Ujjayi breath here. Maybe even extend those arms forward. And then let's slowly release it down. Draw the knee in. Over to the other side. Right leg extends up. Find your angle. Flex through the foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift. So it doesn't have to be too high. It doesn't have to be at all for those shoulders and the head to lift off of the mat. Your choice. And then maybe extend those arms forward. And hold here and try to keep soft in the front of the throat. So we're not kind of choking ourselves. We're keeping lots of openness so we can find our Ujjayi breath, still working strongly through those core muscles. Find the point where you're shaking maybe a little bit like I am. And then go ahead, hug it in, release it down. Stretch it out. And let's come into just one more bridge pose. A sustained bridge. When you're ready, let's lift it up. Find that backward tilt of the pelvis. So the tailbone is going back towards the backs of the knees or even up towards the ceiling. And if you'd like, you can roll to the outer shoulders. If you can comfortably interlace the fingers underneath you, this is a nice option to continue to open up through the chest. Press into those heels. Find your Ujjayi breath here. Really work the back of the body. Keep tucking the tailbone underneath. And then let's slowly release those fingers if they're interlaced. Come back onto your shoulder blades. Let's lift those heels and slowly roll it down the spine. Taking Nice moment when your bottom reaches the mat. And then, however you'd like to, slowly make your way up to a comfortable seated position. You can either roll onto one side and gently press up, or you can rock forward and back a few times, even if you'd like, gaining momentum to come into that comfortable seated position. And then when we get there, let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. Think of sitting up really tall. Think of almost like you're growing even taller just by sitting nice and upright. And if you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then if the eyes are closed, please open the eyes. Namaste. Great to be able to practice with you again today. Let's just relax our hands onto the legs. And remember, a comfortable seated position is whatever that means for you. Cross-legged, leg extended. And we'll draw those shoulders over the hips. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, just a turn of the head to one direction. Just get an easy stretch for the neck. Sometimes when we do our core movements and we lift our head, we can put a little strain on the neck. So I want to get a little stretch there. And then let's come through center and over to the other side. You might even feel a stretch going all the way down the back. All those muscles are connected. So good to get a good neck stretch. Let's draw our head back to center. Take an inhale, exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. Breathe here. Still sitting up tall. And then let's lift the head, change the crossing of the legs. Inhale, circle those arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's interlace the fingers, press the palms forward, relax the shoulders down. Maybe stay here, maybe lift up, take an inhale. Exhale, side bend to one side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, over to the other side, just stretching it out, feeling things out. Let's come back to center. Draw the palms back to your heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart, interlace opposite pinky in front. Inhale, press it forward. And then exhale, release the shoulders down. Maybe stay here if it's okay on the shoulders to lift up. We'll take an inhale. Exhale, side bend over to the other side first. Inhale, back to center, over to the other side. And then let's come back to center. Draw those hands back to your heart. One more inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's interlace the fingers back behind us, or you can just place the fingertips back behind you, whatever feels good. And we'll open up through the chest. And then maybe lean it back so you really feel a nice opening for the chest. And if you do have your fingers interlaced, you'll start to feel a little stretch for those wrists. And then press your way back up. Circle those arms out and up. Hands to the heart. Let's draw those arms back behind us again. If you did interlace opposite pinky on top. Open up through the shoulders. Maybe stay here or maybe start to lean back. Opening up through the chest. And then let's slowly come back to center. And then you can place your hands kind of to the side or behind you for a little support. Let's draw our feet in front of us. So we'll draw the feet a little bit wider than the hips. And then we're going to lean back onto our hands. So you can have the fingers pointing wherever feels comfortable. And we're just going to come into a side to side sway. And if it feels good to lift the bottom off of the mat, go ahead and do so. And just finding a mild sensation. So if you do have any hip concerns or any joint concerns, remember we always want to keep those joints happy, so feel free to modify or even skip. And just a few more times, finding an easy little twist through the spine as well as we start to open up through the legs. And just kind of finding what your range of motion is for today. And then let's prop ourselves back up. Let's come onto our hands and knees into tabletop pose. And let's continue with our spinal warm-up by just making sure I'm centered here, finding a few rounds of our cow-cat. Inhaling, dropping the belly, shoulders back. Even feel a stretch maybe through the front of the chest and the throat. And then exhale, round through the spine, stretch it along the back of the body. All right. And then let's come back to neutral tabletop pose. You can set the knees a little bit closer together. Let's come into our balancing cat. Right leg, left arm. You can keep the toes and the fingertips down if you'd like, or you can lift them up to the height of the hips and shoulders. Whatever feels best for your body, and just take a few moments here to get a few rounds of breath here. Shoulders drop back, really tighten up through the core. So notice if you're starting to arch through the lower spine. Remember, we're not doing a cow pose. We're doing neutral position in the spine. A few more rounds of breath. You might feel some work. The legs might start to feel a lot of energy, some heat building. And then slowly release it down. Shake it out. So maybe it's kind of a side-to-side movement with the hips and the shoulders, or front and back, whatever feels good. And then reset. Let's go over to the other side. So neutral position in the spine, draw the navel in, and then left leg and right arm. And at any time you can place the toes and the fingers down. So whatever you need to do to make sure you maintain that good, proper alignment. Find your Ujjayi breath and enjoy any wiggles or waverings that you might feel. And then while we're here for a few more rounds of breath, you can kind of start to notice what areas of the body might start to change a little bit. Maybe the hips are starting, one hip is starting to sag a little bit. Maybe the limbs are starting to lower. Maybe the shoulders are coming up. So when we do these long holds, it kind of tells you, gives you some feedback as to what areas start to change and really be powerful in those areas. Last round of breath here. Always making those little adjustments for the alignment, and then go ahead and release down. Shake it, wiggle it out. And then let's release into child's pose. Just take a moment here. And then when you're ready, let's come into our inversion. So either puppy pose or downward facing dog. And we'll take a minute or two to kind of explore how each of the poses, if you'd like, and you're welcome to stay in one pose the entire time, or you can break it up and take child's pose between the poses. So up to you, however, whatever feels good to your body. Maybe you're coming right into downward facing dog, or maybe you're coming into puppy pose. I'll give the version of those two. So maybe it's a relaxed puppy pose, maybe it's an active puppy pose. Wherever you are, think of finding elongation through the spine. Breathing here, pressing firmly into the hands, regardless of what pose you are, to press the weight back towards the bottom half of the body, and then rolling those shoulders down. Shoulders are moving towards those hips, but we're lengthening out through the neck. I'm going to take a child's pose here before I come into downward facing dog, but you're welcome to just stay in whatever pose feels good for as long as you'd like. I'm going to come into downward facing dog now, pedaling through the legs. And since I have tight hamstrings, I'm separating my feet as wide as the mat, drawing the shoulders back and pressing my way back towards those heels. Breathing here. I'm going to do a three-legged dog while I adjust my clothes. All right. Feel a nice stretch. Every time right before I take my dog out for a walk, she always does downward facing dog, and it looks so good. She has perfect alignment. All right. And then let's all release down into child's pose and just take a moment here. And then let's come through our inversion one more time. One last stretch here. And then let's start to make our way to the top of the mat, come into a forward fold, and then just take a moment here in a forward fold, supported. So bend those knees, maybe drop the head, maybe feel the rib cage resting on the thighs. And then let's rise on up. Bend through those knees, roll it on up. Hands are walking up your legs for support if you need it. And then let's draw those arms up. And then draw them back to our heart. Let's interlace the fingers back behind us or hands onto the hips, or even use a belt behind and just find a nice opening. Keep drawing your tailbone underneath. And just finding a stretch that feels good to you. Head is whatever position feels right. And then let's slowly release, upright the spine. Inhale, arms forward or out and up. Exhale, dive it into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Really feel that extension of the spine, even the back of the neck. And then as you exhale, bend those knees, plant the palms, and step it back into plank. So for this first plank, if you'd like to release the knees down to the mat, you can. Or if you feel like your body is ready to go into full plank, you can curl those toes under, press out through the heels, powering through the core. And as we stay here for just a few more moments, noticing kind of what starts to give a little bit. Maybe the hips are starting to release down or the shoulders move up. Really be strong. So identifying those areas that are kind of first to change and power through them. One last full round of breath here. And then go ahead and release those knees down to the mat. You can keep the toes tucked under or flatten the tops of the feet into the mat and then walk the hands back behind you. So if you do have any knee concerns, maybe you're not going all the way back here, maybe you're just staying more into a tabletop pose and finding cow pose. So that's an option. If it is okay to be in a kneeling position, then you can walk your hands back behind you and then find a little bit of that cow position in the spine. So whether you're in tabletop pose and finding cow or leaning a little bit further back, it's up to you. This is kind of our alternate vinyasa, part of a vinyasa for today. And then let's walk ourselves back forward. Come back through plank or modified plank. Take an inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Pedal it out if you need to. Move those shoulders down. Pointy parts of the elbows start to turn back down towards the mat. And remember, you can add whatever movement feels good or come into stillness. And then let's lift those heels nice and high. So coming onto the toes and then start to take a stroll to the top of the mat. You can come onto your fingertips and then make your way to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Press into the hands to really elongate through the spine. Exhale, release. Let's rise on up. Bend those knees if you need to so you can squeeze the glutes. Rise with the flat back, arms out and up or forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, extend through the spine, shoulders draw back. And then let's step it back into plank, top of a push-up. So you have lots of options here. Maybe you're staying in plank. Maybe the knees are up and down. If you'd like a little bit more, maybe you're adding a little push-up, going halfway chaturanga and lifting back up. So your choice, maybe you're adding another one. Shoulders move back, elbows alongside the body, and maybe one more. And then if your knees are lifted, go ahead and set those knees down onto the mat. Walk it back. Maybe it's tabletop pose into cow pose, or maybe you're coming into a kneeling position. Fingertips back behind you, chest open, maybe hips lift. Lots of maybes, lots of options, depending on how your body feels for today and what kind of practice you'd like. Let's release those hips down. Extend those arms, draw them forward, move back into plank pose. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. With the shoulders down. Couple rounds of breath here. Child's pose, always an option. Thinking about wrapping those kind of outer arms or outer armpits down, almost as if you're trying to clap your armpits together. And then let's lift those heels, tiptoe forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Press into those hands to really extend through the spine. Exhale, release. Let's rise all the way up. And then hands to the heart. Let's just do that one more time. Arms up. Inhale, exhale, dive it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back to plank. Knees up or down, either plank hold, or maybe you're just doing a few chaturangas to plank. And then release the knees down, either tabletop to cow or a kneeling position. Drop back, open up the chest, maybe even lift the hips. whatever feels good, pressing those hips towards the ceiling if that feels good, and then go ahead and release down. Walk it forward, plank pose, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. And I'm just finding a few moments here in down dog. Let's start to step the feet together. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe a few turns of the foot in both directions, maybe little circles with the knee. Make sure that standing leg is still in proper alignment with that knee, tracking towards the center of the toes. And then let's keep those hips kind of opening up to the right as we start to shift forward into plank. And you'll step your right foot as far as you can forward to the outside of the right hand. So if it doesn't make it there, if it only makes it halfway there, that's fine. You can use your own hand to walk it forward, or you can kind of scooch it forward and then drop the hips to that comfortable point. I was coming into lizard pose, and then we're just going to reverse that. So engage with the core muscles to lift the hips. Squeeze through the core to draw that right leg back and up, just right where it was, and then set the right foot down next to the left. Over to the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe a little turn of the foot. Go the knee. You can start to straighten the left leg. Keep turning those hips open to the left as you shift forward into plank, and then step that left foot as far as you can up to the outside of the left hand, and then lower the hips. Remember, if it doesn't make it there, you can kind of slowly walk it there using those core muscles. So just as much of a core movement as a leg movement. Lower those hips, and then we'll engage through the core. Feel the squeeze of the lower belly in as you lift those hips. Reach the left leg back up, set it down, release the knees down. Release back into child's pose, and maybe it's a few turns of the hands of the wrists if that feels good. So remember to take what you want out of the practice, leave what you don't want out of the practice. So we're going to do that a couple more times. Let's make our way back to downward facing dog. Feet together. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hips. Inhale, shift it forward, and then exhale, step it to the outside of the right hand. Inhale, lower those hips, look forward, and then exhale, engage through the belly, reach it back up, and then release it down. And then on the next inhale, over to the other side. Inhale to lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, step to the outside of the left hand or carry it there. Inhale, lower those hips. Exhale, reach it back. Inhale, release that foot down. Stay here for the exhale. One more time on each side. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, open, bend the knee. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lizard pose. Inhale, lower the hips. Exhale, pull it back. Use the core. Inhale, set the foot down. Exhale, stay. Over to the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Shift forward into plank on the inhale. Exhale, lizard pose. Inhale, lower the hips, look forward. Exhale, pull it back and up. Inhale, release down. Exhale, both knees down. Either child's pose or come into a kneeling position. And you can walk your hands back behind you and open the chest. Maybe lift the hips if that feels good. So wherever you are, just feel the body kind of relax down. If you'd like to add a little swing movement, you can. And then let's come back. Find your way into tabletop pose through downward facing dog. This time, bend those knees, walk the hands back, to the feet. Separate the feet about hip bone distance apart or even a little bit wider. Let's come into a supported forward fold. So bend those knees, rest the rib cage on the thighs, even if you feel like you're coming into a squat, just to get some nice easy stretch. We don't strain the lower spine. And then let's slide our hands underneath our feet, or if you'd prefer, hands on top of the feet, just depending on how your feet are doing for today. So we get this nice counter stretch. Inhale, think of lengthening the spine, lifting the chest, and then exhale, release. Elbows can kind of bend out to the side. Let's just take a couple more rounds of breath here. You can start to straighten the legs a little bit more, as long as you feel that support of the upper half of the body onto the lower. Maybe a head releases. And then as you're ready, let's release those hands out from underneath. That's a nice good counter stretch for those wrists. Bend those knees slowly, roll it on up the spine. We're going to keep our feet where they are. So at least a little bit wider than hips width. And then let's draw those arms forward. We're going to interlace the bottom 3 fingers, so our kind of Charlie's Angels hands, shoulders draw down, and let's start to come into a squat. So up to you how deep of a squat. Maybe you're almost coming into just a chair pose. Knees don't go past the toes, track towards the center of the toes. Or if you're able to go a little bit deeper, maybe you're coming all the way into a squat, adjusting those feet if you need to, and then let's all start to straighten those legs and come back up. Trying to maintain a strong flat back, neutral position in the spine as best as you can. And then we'll slowly lower, find your squat, and then lift. Working those legs, shoulders draw back, keep that chest lifted. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Let's do 2 more. Inhale to lower to your degree. Remember, we want the joints to be happy. So if you're just lowering a few inches, that's fine too. And then let's lift up, release arms. Let's walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's keep that right foot where it is. Come into a little balance, little warrior 3. So you can have the hands at the heart, start to hinge forward at the hips. Left leg draws back behind. Turn those left toes down. Really press out through the left heel. Strong in the core, strong flat back. Take an inhale. Exhale, upright. Almost like a seesaw or a dippy bird. So we're not bending at the waist. Inhale. Warrior 3, the depth is up to you. Exhale, come back up. Inhale. Exhale, come back up. Working that right outer leg too. Inhale, warrior 3, hold here. And then exhale, let's reach those left toes back. Land in high crescent pose. So separate those feet if you need to. And then when you're ready, release, relax into your high crescent pose, and let's add the arms and move the shoulders down. Taking a round of breath here. Let's come into a twist. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you can draw the hands to your heart center, hinge forward about 45 degrees to start, strong flat back, and let's start to turn shoulders, chest, and rib cage over to your right. Hands can be on the outside of the right leg. If you want to come into a prayer twist, you can go a little bit lower. Try to keep the heart above the level of the hips and the head above the level of the heart. Maybe you're looking back, or maybe not. And then let's slowly unwind, come back. High crescent, inhale. Exhale, warrior 2. So adjust those feet. Heel to arch alignment. And then when you're ready, let's add those arms, and we'll hold here in warrior 2. Steady your gaze. Breathe. Nice. Let's flip our right palm, reach it up, reverse your warrior, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, let's come back to warrior 2. Start to heel toe this left foot a little bit closer. And then let's come into our quarter moon pose. So find your balance. Maybe flip the right palm to face up. Maybe your left toes stay onto the mat,
Or maybe you extend the left leg, lifting it off the mat at any height that feels good. Take another inhale and then exhale. Let's come back to the top of the mat. I'm just going to journey over to the back of the mat so you can see the other side, the front side of this pose, of the poses, with our left leg forward. So from our mountain pose, let's prepare for warrior 3, hands to the heart. And then as we hinge forward at the hips, and maybe it's just kind of a little mini warrior 3, just to feel where things are. Right toes point down, really kick into the right heel, engage to the belly, hips stay even. And then let's come back up. A couple more. Finding your balance. And then this next one, let's come and stay here. And then let's reach those right toes back, come into our high crescent base. You might notice that one leg will be a little bit more balanced for your warrior 3 than the other. And then as you're ready, let's draw those arms up, pull the shoulders down. Take a moment here, finding the balance in your high crescent pose. Remember to engage the core neutral, position the spine as best as you can. Take an inhale. As you exhale, hands to the heart, hinge forward. And then maybe as you twist, you're just placing your hands to the outside of the left leg, turning the shoulders, chest, and the rib cage. If it's okay to go a little bit deeper, then you can hook the elbows, coming into a prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of the left leg. Finding your Ujjayi breath. And then let's slowly unwind, come back to high crescent. Take an inhale and then exhale. Let's come into warrior 2, adjusting those feet, heel to arch alignment. And then taking a moment here. And as we're breathing here, just a couple more rounds of breath. Just noticing, like before, kind of what parts of the pose, the alignment start to kind of falter a little bit. See if you can really power through those. And then let's flip the left palm, reach it up and back. Reverse your warrior, nice easy side stretch. And then come back to warrior 2. Start to heel toe that back foot forward. Let's come into our quarter moon pose. Maybe you're keeping the right toes down. Maybe you're turning the left palm up. Maybe you're lifting it a little bit. Breathing here. And then let's make our way back to the top of the mat. Inhale, arms out or forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. All right. So let's come onto our mat. Let's step to the center of the mat with you facing the long edge of the mat. And let's start to separate our feet. So separating the feet, adjusting the clothes. Let's come into temple pose. So feet are wider than the hips. Remember, anytime we bend those knees, we stack them atop the ankle, track them towards the center of the toes. Feel that work, and then upright the spine. You might feel the tailbone start to lift. Engage through this lower belly and the ribcage, pull it in, neutral position in the spine and the pelvic bowl. And then let's open the arms out and turn the palms up. All right. And then from here, we're going to come into warrior 2 with, I'm going to have my right leg as my lead leg. So you can either mirror me or go in the same leg, lead leg as I am, without a lot of up and down. So we're going to stay relatively low. You're going to start to turn the right toes to point to the top of the mat. We're going to lift the left heel and drop it back and start to straighten the left leg. So we're coming right into warrior 2 with the palms facing up. So not a lot of up and down movement. So let's come back to temple pose, drawing the left heel in, right toes in, and right over to the other side. So left toes point to the top of the mat. We'll lift the right heel, press it back, and straighten the leg. So we're coming in and out of temple pose and warrior 2 with as minimal movement as possible. So we're still in that low stance, a lot of work for the legs and the shoulders. So let's come back to temple pose, draw the right heel in, left toes. One more time on each side. So maybe at the same time, landing, with warrior two, right leg is a lead leg, and then coming back, a little coordination, a little concentration. Now left leg is the lead leg. Let's come back to temple pose. Your legs should be feeling some work happening. Take an inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands onto the hips. Widen those heels, all 10 toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Take an inhale. Exhale, hinge forward. Find your forward fold of choice, as long as you feel supported. And when you get there, if you'd like a little side to side movement, if that feels good, go ahead and do that. All right, one last round of breath here. And then bend those knees, either roll up the spine, engaging through the belly, hands onto the legs, or you can rise with a flat back, whatever feels good. Let's come back into temple pose. Open those arms, pull the shoulders down, palms facing up. So let's come into warrior two, as minimal movement as possible, with the right leg as the lead leg. And then from here, let's reverse our warrior. Take an inhale. Exhale, side angle pose. And feel, if you have a form onto the thigh, it's can help to guide that right knee to track towards the direction of the center of the toe, so you feel a nice stretch on that inner right leg. Maybe the gaze is up. Just feel lots of length and along that left sideways. Let's come back to warrior two. Come to temple pose without a lot of up and down movement from the head and the shoulders, and then over to the other side. So it also depends on how sticky your mat is. If your mat's pretty sticky, you'll just get that added exfoliation for your feet. Inhale, reverse warrior. And then exhale, side angle. Taking a moment here. Breathing, moving the shoulders down. Really trying to get a straight line along the right side of the body and elongating through the neck. And then let's come back to warrior two, palms up. Come back to temple pose. Straighten those legs, hands onto the hips, all 10 toes pointing forward. Maybe interlacing the fingers back behind you, or maybe using a strap or a belt with the palms facing forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, soft bend in the knees, hinge forward at the hips. So if you are pretty tight in the hamstrings like I am, and when you come into a forward fold, there's quite a bit of space between your thighs and your rib cage, bend those knees so you can feel the support of the upper half of the body onto the lower half, or at least bending those knees will help to invert you safely and take pressure off the lower spine. Or maybe you're releasing your hands down for a little extra support. So we want to make sure that we keep that lower spine in a happy place. So if you need that extra support, then go ahead and take it. And then let's place the fingertips onto the mat or forearms onto the thighs. Take an inhale, think of lengthening the spine. And then as you exhale, we're going to turn to our right, so to the top of the mat. And then let's start to lower the left knee down onto the mat. So if you do have a pillow, then you can place it underneath your left knee or left shin for a little extra support if you need it. And then let's draw our hips forward. And breathing here. You can come onto your forearms, onto the thigh if you'd like. So just looking for that mild sensation of a stretch on the left leg. If you want a little bit more, if you feel like you're pretty open in the quads and the quads feel warmed up and want to go a little bit deeper into the pose, you can start to bend through the left knee, left heel towards the left buttock, reach the right foot back, right hand back behind you to grab the foot, or you can use a belt or a strap, but draw the chest open. So we're not rounding through the spine, trying to just even reach the toes, only if you can easily reach the foot and get some length through the spine. And then let's take another round of breath here. Remember, we want to feel supported in the pose. We don't want to feel like we're struggling to maintain these stretches. And then if you do have the foot, go ahead and release. Let's straighten the left leg. Take an inhale. Then as you exhale, hinge it back. So this one you can also do with a knee down on to the pillow. So coming into your half splits, or if you'd like a little bit more, you can start to keep both legs straight. So whatever feels good for you. Breathing here. Nice. One last round of breath. And then let's slowly release. Right foot down if it was lifted. If your left knee is on the pillow or on the mat, go ahead and lift it up because we're going to walk through center, all 10 toes pointing toward the long edge of the mat and over to the other side. Soft bend in the knees. Let's walk it over. Adjusting those feet at least hip bone distance apart. I'm going to use my pillow under my back knee. And then drawing the left knee, the front knee to stack atop the ankle, track it towards the center of the toes. Maybe you're staying here. Maybe you're hanging out here. Easy, mild sensation of a stretch. So if you do need to use some energy to lift the hips a little bit higher, feel free to do so. If you want that extra quad opening, draw the right foot towards the right buttock. Reach it back. Either the inside or the outside of the foot, as long as you're getting that lift of the chest. So we're not pointing the chest down. We're getting a little bit of a twist and a lift of the chest. So find what works best for your body. Breathing here, remember mild sensation only. One last round of breath. Ooh. And then as you're ready, go ahead, release that foot if you have it. And then your choice, either half splits with that back knee down, or if you want a little bit more, curl those back toes under, start to straighten the left leg, maybe lift the toes. So find what works best for you for today. And breathe here. Still finding that Ujjayi breath. And then let's go ahead and set that left foot back down. And if your back knee is lifted, let's lift it off so we can come back to center. If you have a pillow there, you can release that pillow. Let's start to heel toe those feet a little bit closer towards hips width, maybe a little bit wider. Let's come into our yogi squat. So remember, the height of your squat is up to you. Maybe you're staying a little bit higher. Maybe you're just coming into a supported forward fold. So find what works best for you. Get a nice stretch for the lower back, through the hips. And then as you're ready, in the manner that is most safe and comfortable for you to come onto your bottom, go ahead and find your way there. Let's draw the soles of the feet together. Take an inhale, and then exhale, fold it forward. Maybe even using a pillow or a few pillows underneath your head. Last round of breath here. And then let's push into our hands to slowly upright the spine. Use your hands to draw those knees together. And then let's swivel to face towards the top of the mat. And in the manner that is safe for you to come onto your backs, I'm going to grab my strap and my pillow, just have them handy in case I need them. And let's roll it on down the spine. Let's come into our thread the needle pose. Cross right ankle over thigh above the knee, flex of the foot. Maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're drawing the leg shape towards you. Maybe you're using a belt underneath the legs to give the lower back some support, but then you could still relax through the arms. Let's take a few deep rounds of breath here. Notice if this right knee is coming closer towards you than the ankle, like mine is. And then I'm just going to gently guide it so it's a little bit more even with the right leg, with the right ankle. And then let's keep this leg shape if it is comfortable to do so as we come into a twist. So you can place those left toes back down if they're lifted. Shift the hips a little bit to the right, especially if you're pretty twisty. And then let's twist the lower half of the body over to the left. And then maybe you're using a pillow underneath the foot, or if you can easily, comfortably reach the foot down. And then breathing here, maybe turning the head to the right. So it's finding a depth of twist that feels good. You'll also feel another extra stretch through that outer right hip. A couple more rounds of breath here. And then as you're ready, let's slowly come back. You can use your left arm to kind of assist you to come back. And let's move over to the other side. Release down. Left ankle crosses over right thigh above the knee, flex of the foot. Maybe stay here. Maybe draw the leg shape towards you. Maybe use the belt. Maybe use your own hands. If you interlace your fingers underneath the right leg, you can also use your left elbow as a kind of guide to keep that left knee from coming too close into the chest. Or you can even use your hands to kind of cradle the shape. So whatever feels good for your body. Still finding that ujjayi breath, that deep belly way of breathing that can help to relax the body, to go deeper into the stretch, but just that mild sensation of a stretch. And then as you're ready, let's release those right toes down. Scoot your hips a little bit over to the left, that just to make sure that the tailbone stays along the center line of the mat. And then as you're ready, come into your twist. Feeling free to use props, anything that whatever to make the pose feel good. Let's take a couple more rounds of breath here. And then let's slowly make our way back to center. Use your right arm to help with those legs. And when you get back to center, let's hug those knees into the chest. Maybe it's a happy baby pose or whatever pose feels good before our final pose of Shavasana. And then when you're ready, let's release. Find your most comfortable position for Shavasana. Maybe you're even using a pillow underneath your head or underneath your shoulders or back, whatever feels good to you, where you can completely release and relax. And I will be playing the sound of wind chimes to help soothe the mind. Let's all take an inhale here. Exhale out the mouth. And enjoy these next few minutes of your Shavasana.
And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into your fingers, into your toes. And on the next inhale, you can stretch the arms to a comfortable point. And then as you exhale, hug the right knee into the chest, followed by the left. Give them a squeeze. And then let's roll onto one side, coming into fetal pose. And then slowly, with the head heavy, press your way up to a comfortable seat. And let's stack the hands atop our heart. Take a moment to feel gratitude to yourself for your coming to your practice or for anything else in your life that you are grateful for. Hold that in your heart. Let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. As always, it is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next time.